Club, back in watching Lionel Vujassin on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club as this lead group hits the Category 4 climb on this course for the second time today.
And Mr. X100 just sitting at the back of this group. He knows that it's all going to come down to the last 2.5 kilometers potentially. This is where we expect to see those favourites moving up to the front. They know that they need to hit this climb and hit it hard. Here we go, because Knudsen has gone clear on the front, and he is going to need to put a gap in here. The time is running out, and we are on 500 meters to go. At the moment, nobody has a substantial gap. This group is still relatively together. There are not massive gaps opened up between them. Osborne, Popovic and Van Els are right on the heels here of Michael Knudsen. The last qualifier, is he going to make it to the finish? Here he goes. Now the chase is on. Osborne on his way up this climb. He's chasing hard here. Pablo Popovic of the UAE clan team comes through. He takes victory. It's going to be second place for Jason.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world today, and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. We are here today for qualifier race number 1 on November the 6th. We are starting again. You've just seen the rewind of our October finals, and our October finals were amazing. And some fantastic racing and some great racing we're looking forward to today. So today's course is a really challenging course today, a real puncher's course. So 44.8 kilometres for our men today, 835 meters of elevation, and that just keeps coming. So as you can see in front of you, 6 Category 4 climbs today, all around 900 meters in length, and they vary between 9.1% average gradient and 12.3% average gradient. But that is really deceptive because the gradient will kick to nearly 20% in places today. So these efforts are fairly short, they're fairly sharp, and they just keep coming. Because as well as those 6 Category 4 climbs, you will see they are joined by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other climbs today. So racing today, we have our yellow jersey Category 1 teams. We have the UAE clan team, the Yorkshire Pudding Express, Next PB Insured, and Italian Gelato. Team competition last week was fantastic. Danish Pavlovas took it from the Belgian Waffles, from Italian Gelato and the UAE clan team. The Danish Pavlovas and the Belgian Waffles are also on the start line today, as well as Abus Le Col. So 64 riders taking to the start line today in Category 1 with 7 teams, and are really looking forward to some fast and furious racing from our Category 1 riders. Category 2 in the green jerseys, UAE Falcons, Hubbards, Cycle Mind, Wolfies Racing Team joining the setup. Great to see 41 riders in Category 2 today, 4 teams. And last week, the Horsemans took it from the Globally United Whooshers in Cat 2. Neither of those teams on the start line today, but I'm sure they will be joining us sometime later this month. So our Category 3 teams today, UAE Road Warriors, Team Strikers and the Battlers, wearing those blue jerseys. So 36 riders on the start sheets in Category 3 today, 3 teams. Last month's racing was won by the global team, and followed by DX Biker Dudes. Neither of those teams joining us today, but likewise I expect them to make an appearance later this month. So our blue jersey Category 3, 36 riders on the start sheets. Category 4 is a new category for us this month. We are moving from 3 race categories on the Sunday Race Club to 4 categories as our field grows. It's a fantastic introduction, and you can see the names of our category 4 riders today rolling through there, because no teams as of yet. This is a brand new category today, and these riders will be joining us in the red jerseys, so an extra colour and in the peloton today. 12 riders to start in this category, no teams as of yet, but I'm sure by the time we get towards the finals this month, we will indeed be seeing teams in that competition. So we are down on the start line, and we are in with Mr. X100, waiting to roll out on the start today. So as the power goes down in our start today, we can see our field move away, and a really big push for Mr. X100 to get clear of this start group. The start today is pretty flat, and then we drop straight off the side of the hill. So a really challenging start today, downhill before we hit the flatlands and allow this group to spread. So some fast pace coming out from our start group today. 45-50 kph as we see these riders push on and try to go clear. Getting a good start on the Sunday Race Club is really important. That lead group that establishes itself early on in the race is a really important part and parcel of the tactics of racing the Sunday Race Club. If you can make the selection to that front group, it is a real advantage. And we can see these riders pushing to try and establish this within the first kilometre of racing today. So here on our screens in front of us, we are in with Mr. X100. This is a downhill and flat start today for these riders. It is a start that allows a large group to stay together, and we can see that we're in with Hassan Sultan at the moment, currently rider 40 on the road, indicating that there are more than 40 riders in that pack at the moment. We've got a mix of jerseys. We've got our yellow category 1 riders in there, our green jersey category 2 riders. We have blue jersey category 3 riders, and a smattering of red jersey category 4 riders in that group as well. So this group are moving on, and you can see in the top right-hand corner of your screen the graphic that shows us the right-hand sweeping bend in the road, and you can see the peloton as it is slowly starting to stretch out on this road as we go up and round this corner. So here, a good shot for you of that stretching peloton now as we start to see riders starting to be distanced off of that lead group as that group still pushes on, but it's currently led by SS. And that group is still a very large group on the road. So with 1.6 kilometres travelled, we are in on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club with SS leading this large group of riders stretched back down this road on our Sunday Race Club. So today's course is going to be a really challenging one. We start in these flatlands where these riders are at the moment today, but very shortly we will start to see the climbs coming. The climbs today are short, 900 metres in length, but these 6 category 4 climbs are steep today, and our riders will be continuing to face them. So 900 metres in length, an average gradient of our first climb today of 9.1%. But the climb that these riders finish on today has an average gradient of 12.3%, and it kicks up to 16-17%. And the riders today, the finish line will come right at the top of that climb. It will be the 3rd time the riders have gone up that particular climb. So yes, they do that climb 3 times. And at the end of the 3rd climb is where they will find the finish line. So a real puncher's course today. And we're expecting to see some real fireworks lit amongst the peloton. So last week we saw a very different course to today. We were in the October final, and we were in Australia for the final of the October Sunday Race Club. On the Wollongong course, we saw Popovic take category 1 from Jason Osborne, from Knudsen, from Van Elst and Zanaska. They rounded out the top 5. In category 2, Maglio took the win from Spratt, from Angatera, from Baltazar and Il Pino. And in category 3, we saw Ramos take the win from Dadson, from Mendoza. So some really great racing in our men's October final last week. So back to today's racing on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Our peloton have travelled 3 kilometres of this 44.8 kilometre race, and we still have a very large group of riders at the front of this race today. So we are in with Mr. X100, one of our category 1 riders here in front of us, as we start to see the road go up in front of these riders today. So the first climb is coming as Mr. X100 pushes on there, 6.6 watts per kilo coming out to ensure that he moves through that pack and towards the front of this group. And this is where we're going to see the first stretch of the legs of these riders today. And this is the point we're going to see this group that have managed to stay together so far from the start for the first 3 kilometres of this race really start to stretch. And very quickly on that right hand corner of the screen, you can see that pack start to be decimated by this first climb today. So as the gradient kicks to 12.7%, you can see the yellow jersey riders really start to stretch towards the front of that field as they kick up this climb and turn through that sweeping left-hand bend. So Mr. X100 currently looking as though he's 16th on the road in that long stretch of category 1 rider jerseys. On the left-hand side of your screen, we are slightly further back in with Tom Harvey, one of our category 4 riders today. So new category 4 in those red jerseys. It's going to be really interesting to see how these categories roll out over this month. So Jason Osborne kicking away at 7.5 watts per kilo at the front of this group, followed by Michael Knudsen, Youssef Al-Hamadi and Paniza here as well. So these category 1 riders stretching their legs now and trying to move forward, but we're seeing a group go with them. So I'm expecting when we go over the brow of this hill to have a group of category 1 yellow jersey wearers all together as they cross the brow of this hill. A little bit further back, we were just seeing our category 2 riders also on this climb, but back in with these category 1 front of the pack riders. It's looking like a good, strong group are going to go over the top of this first climb together. So we have SS, Al-Hamadi, Knudsen, Bjorklund, Osborne, Safrasad, Jones, Van den Eck, are as well in there in this group at the front. Slightly further back, our category 2 riders are just still on the final segments of this climb, with Al Ramethri, one of our really strong category 2 riders in there. And we can see Nicholas Spratt and Ryan Giuliano as well in there. Some strong names that we would expect to see at the front of our category 2 race. So Mr. X100 here finds himself just slightly distanced from that front group of what looks like a front group of 14 riders in this category 1 race. So Mr. X100 here chasing and utilising the momentum of this downhill section, currently sat at 6.7 watts per kilo to close this gap on that group who have already started to sweep round that right-hand bend in front of him. So this is strong riding from Mr. X100, who is chasing that group. They are 3 seconds down the road, but highly likely, I think, we are going to see him catch that group. A little bit further in front, that group have 14 riders in that lead group after that first climb. And can Mr. X100 push on here and make that 15 riders before they get to the next climb? And the next climb is coming, and we can see it up in front. A little bit further back down the road, we've got Ferry, Graves and Simmons here. 3 category 1 riders who didn't quite make that selection on that first climb today. So in this front group, we have a strong group of category 1 riders. 14 riders have made that selection into this lead group. Mr. X100 still chasing behind. You can just see him on the top of that right hand corner screen, that smaller yellow blob behind this big one, and look at that. Just about to make the back of that group as we cross the bridge, and you can see the next climb starting on the road just ahead. So Mr. X100 makes the catch. That takes that lead group up to 15 riders. So the riders today have indeed gone over at the first category 4 climb on this course, and it took a very large group of riders out of the start gate and made a smaller group, select group of 15 riders. So we have 15 riders on the right hand side of your screen in the lead group, and we've got 3 chasing riders behind. 3 category 1 riders doing the chasing. So Ferry, Graves and Simmons here you can see on the left hand side of your screen, chasing that group of 15 riders who are just up the road ahead of them. In fact, they're just out of sight because of that sweeping right hand bend on the bridge. So in this front group, we have, having a look here, so we have Popovic, Paniza, Mr. X100, Al-Hamadi, Knudsen, Van Elst, Vanden Eckhart. We have a strong group of really good category 1 riders. Now this climb, this lead group are on at the moment, it's not categorized. Yep, it's still kicking at 10%, but this is an uncategorized climb between our 2 category 4 climbs. So the riders will come up to the top of this climb, they will drop off the other side, and the second they hit the bottom of the climb, it kicks again to our second category 4 climb of the day. So it may be uncategorized. It's around 800 meters in length, this climb, and it has an average gradient of 6.3%. So it is nothing to be not looked at or given fair due attention to, but it isn't categorized like the others that we have today. So as the gradient tops 8.3% at this moment, this group of 15 riders are tapping well together up and over this climb. They will shortly be crossing the brow of this climb and dropping down the other side. So it looks as though our 15 riders in this lead group are all still together as they go over the brow of this hill and start to descend the other side. So 15 riders in our lead group on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Strongly riding. We've got 3 chase riders, 3 category 1 riders, not quite made this selection to this group, but we've got some good names in here. SS, Al-Hamari, other riders that we would expect to see. On the left hand side of your screen now, we can see a chase group slightly further back down the road, a large group of category 2 riders, a couple of category 3 riders in there. I can see Phillips in there as one of our category 3 riders. Moreno is in there, a category 2 rider. Moreno took a strong ride last week, but that group are together there and working well on that climb. So this lead group of 15 riders are being stretched now, and we're seeing Vanden Eckhart at the back there and Moreno just slightly being distanced as Ollie Jones kicks on at the front, and Ollie Jones is starting to stretch this group of 15 riders out. This is our second category 4 climb of the day, 900 meters, but an average gradient of 12.3%. And you will see this gradient really kick 13.7% at the moment. It will get steeper for these riders as they sweep round this left-hand bend on this climb. So Knudsen at the front, SS and Osborne all three of them pushing the pace at the front of this race. Slightly further back on the left-hand side of your screen, we're in with our Remethri, one of our leading Category 2 riders, chasing Angarita and Cadiz, who are slightly down the road in front of him, off the descent of the previous climb. They are just about to hit the bottom of the climb that the Category 1 riders on the right-hand side of your screen are moving up through strongly. So our Remethri being overtaken there by Kranich and other riders as this climb starts to hit on that left-hand side. That's a strong group of riders in Category 2, and they are really working hard. So this lead group, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 riders. I can still see at the front of this group, but riders have been dropped, and we will take a little bit of a look back shortly and we'll be able to see the damage that this climb has done to this group. But we've got Osborne in 1, SS in 2, Knudsen in 3. As we move back now, we've got gaps back to Bjorklund, Mel, Jones, Van Elst, Mr. X100. And let's not forget that chase the X100 made to get back onto this group, and is still suffering. But potentially when we get over the top of this climb, there is still time to get back on. And that's if that lead group doesn't establish a lead and break this group in two. So Mr. X100 coming onto the back of Stefan Van Elst, Ollie Jones, Vidar Mel, Bart van den Eckhart. These strong riders, but they've been distanced by the riders at the front of this group. So we've got Osborne, SS, Safrazad, riders just up the road, and you can see that gap now that they've established on this climb as they move on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 riders, it looks as though, have made this gap and they've pushed on. So as we see the top of this climb, first time in this race. So the third time the riders go through that banner will be the finish of this race. They have 2 more rides up that climb on the course today. So over the top go this lead group. So we have Mr. X100 here pushing on with riders just behind. So we've got a group, it looks now as though we have 7 riders. 7 riders in this lead group. Osborne, Popovic, Mr. X100 here with Ollie Jones. These are our 2 chase riders. They are about 8 seconds back on the group in front. So working hard, Jones and X100, you can see just in the distance this group behind now with Bjorklund, Van Elst, Mare, Noren. But this group of 15 riders that went into the base of the Category 4 climb have been split, and they've been split into 3 groups on the road. So Knudsen pushes on at the front, chasing hard. X100 and Jones trying to catch the group. We've got Osborne, Knudsen and SS here. 3 really strong riders continuing to push, but it's looking as though X100 and Jones are going to catch and push forward. So we have Knudsen, Popovic. These gaps are all over the road at the moment as these riders just keep attacking. So SS here is on the road. X100, Ollie Jones. These riders are now starting to catch. This is a bigger group here starting to form, but they are still not one group. So this group of 15 riders who went into the base of that Category 4 climb, they have gone over the top and are coming down the other side. The back of the group is slowly starting to form into one large group. as they continue to push on this descent. SS is putting out 7 watts per kilo on the descent here, trying to bring this group back together. So the work being done here by the UAE clan team, SS and Mr. X100, to bring this group back together is absolutely outstanding as we see this catch being made. SS snowballing over the top of this group, but some outstanding riding here to bring the groups back together. So we went over the top of the climb with the leading group of 15 split into 3 groups, and the 2 groups at the back have chased hard. Mr. X100, SS, Jones, they have worked, and the group is now back together. So we are 11.8 kilometres into a 44.8 kilometre race today on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. And these men are working hard. This is a puncher's course. It is constantly up or down. We've got 6 category 4 climbs and gradients of over 15% today. So as you can see, these groups are working hard. Osborne pushing on at the front of this group. So Youssef Al-Hamadi here in this group is the final rider here in this 9 riders. So we've got Martin Martins, Youssef Al-Hamadi, 2 riders here in 8th and 9th position, chasing the lead group ahead. So it's looking as though we have 7 riders in that lead group. We have 2 chasing riders. But this group is continuing to kick and is not remaining stationary. They are not happy to just transition between the climbs today. So we are seeing some continual attacks, and we have now got Martins and Al-Hamadi chasing this group, and they can just see them in front of them on the road as they continue to push on, and they're continuing to work hard to try and catch this group who are just going round that corner ahead of them on the road today. So our lead group of 7 riders are clear of 2 chasing riders as Al-Hamadi continues to push with Martin on his wheel. These riders in 8th and 9th position on the road at the moment today. The group further back, Bart van den Eckhart, Jakob Bjorklund, 20 seconds back now to these 2 riders, and then the leading group on the road now 100 metres in front of them. So these 2 riders have now whittled this chase down to around 7 seconds. So 7 seconds still to push for, and still to push hard to make that catch to this lead group in front of them. They are bringing it down quickly, and the fact that they can see these riders in front of them now is real motivation to make sure this gap gets closed. So it's down to 4 seconds now, and they can really see and will shortly be feeling the draft here. Then the draft off the back of this group will really help them close that gap. So on the right hand side of your screen, we have jumped back in with some Category 2, and I think that may well be our leading Category 3 rider in the blue jersey there. But we will take a look at that. But we have got Nicholas Spratt in there. So Spratt was 2nd last month in our October final in the Category 2 race. So this may well be one of the leading groups in the Category 2 race. And that Category 3 rider has made a great tactical move by hanging in the group. So that indeed is Mike Phillips by the look of that. In terms of that Category 3 rider, just done a great tactical job to work hard and to stay with that group. One of the real strong tactics, we talked about the importance of the start at the beginning of this race, and getting group selection off of your start is absolutely one of the best tactics you can do on the MyWhoosh platform. If you can get in a strong group and you can sit in that group and take the draft from that group and stay in there as long as possible, like Phillips looks as though he's done, you can move away from the competitors in your race category. And often by not having to do as much work as if you were moving away on your own or putting an attack in. So you'll see on the top left-hand side of your screen, there is a box with a huge load of numbers in. So the watts at the moment, we're currently in with Al Hamadi. The watts, 360 watts, are in black. That indicates that that is not a rider who is not drafting at the moment. When those watts change to green from black, that indicates the rider is taking the benefit of the draft. And that is what is important for establishing a tactical break. It's not always the strongest rider who wins the race. Quite often it's the smartest rider. And one of those smart tactics is sitting in the draft and utilising those green numbers for as much of the race as possible. So Al Hamadi and Martins are still chasing, but they never made that gap. Went down to 4 seconds at one point, but the group in front have pushed on now, and that gap is now out to 14 seconds. So a bigger gap now for those two riders to catch. As we go back down our race field and take a look, and we have in with our category 4 riders here. So these category 4, new category for November, as these race fields continue to expand. The introduction of 4 race categories really helps to make the racing fairer. So our race categories are very much around ensuring that riders ride together and are categorized together according to their ability. So category 1 being the highest and category 4 being the lowest. And depending upon multiple variables like our riders' past performances, the relevant competitors who are in the field, registration data and all other information, riders will be assigned to a category that is fair to their racing today. And that's what we're looking to establish, fair racing for all. So being in a race category field that with like riders, and what it really produces is great racing in all of our categories and close racing in all of our categories. So not just close racing in category 1, but category 2, category 3 and category 4. And across all 4 categories, there is prize money. So through our qualifier races in the month, there is prize money for individual races. And today, though, that prize money will be earned on this course that you can see in front of you. So we are up and over the first 2 category 4 climbs of the day. You can see the rolling lands and then a flat transition before we get to 22.2 kilometers traveled, when our next set of category 4 climbs comes thick and fast. So we are in with Ollie Jones. Jones, Osborne and Knudsen are pushing, trying to push clear of Safrazad, Popovic and Mr. X100. These riders are continuing to attack each other and they're not taking this transition section easy today. So X100 is in this group, but this lead group of 7 riders are 30 seconds up the road now on Al Hamadi and Martins. Those 2 riders who not long ago we were seeing only 5 seconds off the back of this group. So our lead 7 riders are working hard to stay out front, and they have established a 30-second lead now. So 30 seconds back to our chasing 2 as these riders move on here. So Popovic, SS, Osborne, Jones, Safrazad, Mr. X100 are all in this lead group of 7 riders. So tapping along at the moment, a nice steady pace around 3.5, 4 watts per kilo. This group are moving through the transition between our first set of category 4 climbs on this course today and our second set of category 4 climbs. So the next set of climbs due to start around 22 kilometers into this course. So on the right hand side of your screen, we drop back to take a look a little bit further down the field, but here we are in with a number of our category 2 riders, and that's looking like that may well be the front of our category 2 race. So Hassan Al Ramethri, one of our really strong category 2 riders here, currently in with a group of category 1 riders, as well as Kranich and she said it's great to see. We're rolling through this screen trying to look at this for you. So Cadiz and Il Pino, it is looking like Cadiz and Il Pino are up the road slightly, actually. So it's an interesting, there's a really good and interesting race going on here in category 2 as well. So strong racing in category 1, strong racing in category 2 as well today, as we can see the split screen, and it's looking as though Mr. X100 is just getting dropped off the back of that group as they push on today. So an attack gone in, and Mr. X100 pushing at nearly 6 watts per kilo to get back onto this group. He's done a lot of chasing today, and successful chasing, utilising the terrain to his advantage to bring the group back. But we've got Syed Safrazad, Pablo Popovic, Jason Osborne, Michael Knudsen, Jones, SS and Mr. X100 in this lead group now, all back together again. As we come to this sweeping left-hand bend on the road in front of them, they are shortly about to start seeing the climbing coming at them thick and fast again. This group working well together, but as we can see, some of these riders now really sat quite comfortably. You know, we're currently in with Michael Knudsen. I was looking there at Knudsen's heart rate. Knudsen's heart rate is a little bit like Osborne's, very comfortable at the moment. Osborne's heart rate was 159. We've seen a maximum heart rate from Osborne of 199. So he's got a lot of transition to go and still a lot of headroom for racing. So Al Hamadi still chasing. He's not given up the chase, mind you. And Martins. In fact, these two riders have been together for quite some time now, and are still riding strongly. But they are currently 8th and 9th on the road today, having been distanced and not being able to make the juncture back to that lead group of 7. So as they continue to move on the right-hand side of your screen, you can see that lead group, and you can see the difference in distance is around 250 meters back that Al Hamadi and Martins are at the moment. And that 250 meters is around 20 seconds. And it's been interesting because these two riders have yo-yoed back and forward off the back of this group. At one point, they were down to 4 seconds, then 15, then 20, then 30. Now they're back to 22. So as this front group sit up and take some rest before the next set of climbs, Al Hamadi and Martins are able to close the gap a little bit as that comes down to 20 seconds at the moment. So Osborne, SS, Popovic, Safrazad, Jones, Knudsen and Mr. X100 continue to tap out the pace at the front of this race. Just under half distance travelled, but this group are sitting comfortably at the moment. We're talking sitting comfortably by looking at heart rates at the moment, and the heart rate data from this lead group of riders tells us that they have had a period of recovery before they start to move into the next set of climbs. And this next set of climbs is coming in front of them. As you can see, the road start to kick up here before the left-hand bend. So these riders, currently the gradient's at 12.2%, and it is kicking hard as Al Hamadi and Martins have got that gap down to 15, 16 seconds now, and they can see that leading group on the hill and on the climb in front of them as the gradient starts to kick and the watts start to go down. So Safrazad and Jones just shy of 7 watts per kilo, Osborne and SS on the front doing the same, Knudsen, Popovic and Mr. X100 all putting some power on those pedals now to get up this first category 4 climb of the middle section of this course today. So Pablo, Popovic and SS are leading this group up this climb. We are on our third category 4 climb of this course today. It's a real punchy course and it's a hard course. It is a real hard riders course. Really, whilst these climbs may be categorized as category 4 climbs, the gradients really kick. It's the length that makes them category 4 because they are 900 meters in length. But with average gradients of up to 12.3%, the gradients are regularly kicking at 13, 14, 15, 16%, and really stretching our riders today. So we can see Martins and Al Hamadi are still chasing this lead group, and they've still got them in their sights ahead, but that gap just continues to stretch as we drop back in with our riders behind, and we are in with one of our category 4 riders there, along with a group, and they are looking strong, currently in 54th place as they work through this race. So it is looking like that's Renato Sartorio Ramos in there, currently in 55th place, but one of our category 4 riders. So really strong riding going on there. We've got a couple of category 1 riders in that group and some category 3 riders as well. So some strong riding then from Ramos as we see that red jersey moving through and strongly with that group of riders with him. So we're back in with our lead group, and they have gone up and are now coming down the other side of that climb. And it's looking like Mr. X100 has been distanced slightly again, so 2 or 3 seconds off the back of the group in front, who are just dropping down the other side as our speed picks up, currently 70 kph at the moment, as these riders are dropping down the other side of this climb, and that group in front are pulling away. So we've got 3-second gap at the moment as Mr. X100 pushes on. Mr. X100 currently looking at around 6 watts per kilo to push on, whilst Jones here at the front takes a rest and takes a break at 1.7 watts per kilo. So Popovic is pushing on to catch the group, whilst the group in front are taking a break. They are taking a rest. They are bringing their heart rates down, ready to go again. So Mr. X100 does it again, a past master and a consummate master of catching the group and utilising momentum from the downhill to do so. So X100 comes through and into that lead group. And that group of 7 riders are all back together again at the front of this race. Slightly further down the race field, we are looking and back with In fact, that's Mike Phillips in there. So Phillips is indeed the rider in the blue jersey. So the blue jerseys are category 3 riders. So 4 categories in today's men's race. Introduction of the 4th category new for November, and hopefully allowing us to grow our fields and create more competitive racing right the way through the field of riders on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. So Phillips looking strong here in this group. This is a good group of category 2 riders, and Phillips has done an amazing tactical job of getting in this group and being able to stay in this group and stay in the draft of this group as well, to maintain a lead in this category 3 race. Maintaining a lead in this category 1 race, we have 7 riders in this lead group. 7 riders, 7 strong riders. So we have Safrazad, Jones, Osborne, Knudsen, Mr. X100, Pablo Popovic, and SS, the lead 7 riders in this group, as they go back uphill, and the climb kicks at 10.6, 10.8 watts per kilo. Slightly further back down the field, we are in with Hassan Al-Ramethri. It's looking as though Al-Ramethri is now chasing, and there are a couple of category 2 riders in front of him. Hard to see at the moment who they are, but we've got Giuliano, Gakes, Angarita. These are all strong riders in category 2 who we would expect to see and did see last month in our October final, racing in the top 5 positions. So SS pushing on and leading this group of 7 riders as we are just coming to around 25 kilometres travelled in this race and 40 minutes of racing. So SS, Osborne, Knudsen, Popovic, Safrazad, Jones, Mr. X100. 7 riders here still in this lead group, just coming to the brow of this hill. All still together, all working hard, occasionally stretching the group, but still coming back together. So a bit of respite coming up for this lead group as they cross over the brow of this hill and drop down the other side. But the respite won't be for too long, because it will kick again as we are just dropping back to take a look. Martins and Al Hamadi were indeed our 2 chase riders, but it's looking as though that climb has split those 2. Martins now has pushed on 17 seconds, now splitting Martins from Al Hamadi, 11 seconds back now to the chase group behind. So we've got Ferry, Bjorkland and Merle, 3 riders, 11 seconds behind Al Hamadi. Martin's down the road, so it's looking like these groups might start coming back together again, and if this chase group can come back together again, they could really work together, but very unlikely that they will catch the lead group, who are now riding really strongly and putting in more time gaps and bigger time gaps. As we see on the left-hand side of your screen, the damage being done again, we are now moving on to our 4th category 4 climb. So you can see that on the screen in front of you, coming at 26.1 kilometres into this 44.8 kilometre race. This category 4 climb, 900 metres in length, 12.3% average gradient. And this will be the climb they finish on next time up it, but they've got to get up and over it this time, and successfully stay in that lead group over the top of the climb this time to stand a chance to win this race the next time they come up to it. So it's really starting to split up and get exciting. So this front group at the moment, we have Safrazad, Popovic, SS, Osborne, Knudsen. 5 riders now looking clear. 15 seconds back to Jones, another 3 seconds back to Mr. X100. So 2 riders from this group of 7 in the danger zone now on this race. A little bit further back down the road, we've started to see these groups come back together again. So we had Martins and Al Hamadi as 2 chasing riders. Martins went up the road, and Van Elst, Ferry and Bjorkland caught or are in the process of catching Al Hamadi. It's looking as though that group is coming back together again, and Martins is being caught by Stefan Van Elst at the moment, with Bjorkland behind. Back in this leading 5 riders, now well established, we've got Osborne, SS, Knudsen, Safrazad and Popovic. Jones and Mr. X100 now 20 seconds back as a chasing 2. So 5 riders clear. 5 riders now clear as they're coming to the brow of this hill, and they are nearly now at the top of this 4th category 4 climb. They will then face a downhill, some rolling sections, and then the flatlands as transition between here and the last and final set of climbs before that finish line comes at the top of this climb the next time round. So the banner these riders can see in front of them will be the finish banner the next time they go up this climb. But for now, they've still got to go down, transition, and do these category 4 climbs again. So Osborne, Knudsen, Mr. X100, Safrazad and Popovic, 5 riders clear, as Jones and Mr. X100 22 seconds back now, going over the top of this climb in chase. So 5 riders clear out front, 2 chasing riders. And then I am expecting to see a larger group of riders as chase group 3. So Mr. X100, not unexpectedly, trying to use this downhill section now to close this gap as Ollie Jones decides to help and pushes on too. So Jones and Mr. X100 keeping the power down in an attempt to try and do exactly what X100 has done before and close the gap to that lead group of 5. So Ollie Jones, Mr. X100 working hard. They can see that some of the pace has been taken off the front, but the riders at the front know exactly what Mr. X100's tactics will be on this downhill, and Ollie Jones is only going to help out and make that catch potentially easier for Mr. X100 this time round. So Jones and Mr. X100 working hard to close this gap and to get back onto this lead group as 5 as Pablo Popovic, Knudsen, Osborne, Safrazad and SS are that leading group of 5 out front. So that gap now down to around 7 seconds as that catch is being made. So, and as we're looking at that, actually SS, Mr. X100, so the UAE clan team have dropped back to help out. So whilst this is an individual qualifier race and we are not in the team competition, we are still seeing team tactics play out today as the UAE clan team drop back and help Mr. X100 and Jones get back onto that lead group. So great teamwork being seen today as we see riders drop back and tow the group back together again. Looking back down the field on the left-hand side of your screen, indeed, all those chasing groups behind have come together. So our chase group of 2 and then the riders behind that, so chase group 2 and chase group 3 have now come together and have formed a large group of riders on the road. So we have got our lead group back together again. That group of 5 and 2 have become 7. Behind, we have a chasing group of what looks to be 7 riders as well. So a lead group of 7, a chase group of 7, maybe 8 riders. And as they push on, but they are still clear. So SS, Popovich, Knudsen, Jones, Osborne, Mr. X100, our lead group of riders on the road. Hassan Al Ramethri on the left-hand side of your screen, still working really strongly, one of our leading Category 2 riders. I'm just taking a little look down that field at the moment. I can see Tom Gates behind, James Cranich, strong riding here from Al Ramethri, and Al Ramethri always strong on a climbers course. Al Ramethri really comes into his own. So this chasing group have split again. So Van Elston Martins are now just down the road, 5 seconds. You can see them just ahead of this group. But then we've got Graves and Ferry and Murr and Norin in there as well. This group now are pushing on and there's a lot of racing going on within this race. As we can see, these groups really starting to work and really starting to play. But back on the front of this race now, the lead group are still working hard. This indeed is our chase group at the moment. And we've got 2 riders in front of this group here. So 2, 4, 7 riders here with 2 riders just down the road chasing this group. It really is. So 29.4 for our chasers, 29.5, 30.5 covered for our front group. So there is 1 kilometre splitting our lead group and our chasing riders today. So this group continues to work. Jones has pushed on, Knudsen has gone with him. Osborne is crossing the gap as well as SS and Safrazad are deciding what to do. SS and Safrazad pushing on. Popovich and Mr. X100 just a couple of seconds off the pace at the moment. As we see these riders really start to stretch their legs. This is a big group of 7 to take into that final section of climbs. All really strong and have all stayed together on the 2 sections through these climbs. So Jones, Osborne, Safrazad, SS, Popovich, Mr. X100, all back together again. This group of 7 here keep stretching their legs and trying to stretch this group, and then they keep coming back together again. So 7 strong riders currently leading the Category 1 race today. 31.5 kilometres travelled on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. 44.8 kilometres is where the finish line will come. So still some strong riding and some strong racing expected today before we see the finish of this race. A little bit further back down this field, this is the chase group on the right-hand side. And now we are back in with the lead group as we see Popovich, Safrazad, Knudsen, SS, Jones and Mr. X100, still the 7 riders in this lead group. They are currently now on the transition sections. So between the sets of Category 4 climbs, we see the downhill, some rolling lands, and then we move onto a flat section before the next set of climbs come. Now that next set of climbs are going to come around 38, 39 kilometres into this race. So these riders currently now have got some rolling lands and some flat lands to transition between what were our previous 2 Category 4 climbs and the final 2 Category 4 climbs of this race today. And the finish line will come at the top of the second Category 4 climb that they have to finish. So 2 more Category 4 climbs for these riders today. So if you're taking a look at this and thinking, how do I become a part of the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club? Head over to mywhoosh.com onto the website, and you can take a look on the events page of the website. Take a look. The Sunday Race Club is there to register for. You need to register at least 12 hours before the event, before the race start. You need to ride at least 2 qualifier races to qualify for the final. Some months, depending upon the number of Sundays, there will be 3 qualifying races. Others, there will be 4 qualifying races. But you need 2 verified results to qualify for the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club final of each month. All categories have to submit a weigh-in video and perform dual verification, but all the information you need in relation to that you can find on the Sunday Race Club events page. There is a Sunday Race Club technical guide, there is an FAQ page, all the information is there. And I would strongly suggest, if you are really interested in joining us next Sunday, to head over to the mywhoosh.com website, take a look at all the documents that are available, and head to the start line and join us for some great competitive racing, regardless of which category you are in. So currently in front of us today, the lead group of 7 on the road today, continuing to put distance into the chase group behind. So on the right hand side of your screen, Jones, Knudsen, Osborne are continuing to push on and attack, and around 1.5 kilometers now back to the chase group. So some really strong riding from this lead group today, as Osborne, Knudsen, Mr. X100, Safrazad, Jones, SS, and Pablo Popovic all pushing strongly now. There are 7 riders in this group and 5 riders in the prize money today. So there is less prize money than there are riders in this lead group. So there is going to be some working to do here. So there is prize money in all 4 of our categories today. And this Category 1 group are racing hard to secure that, as we see Knudsen push on, Osborne chase and close the gap, SS watching too, Palpovic, Jones, Safrazad, that group continuing to come back together as people stretch their legs, test the legs of the riders in the group, but no one is being broken at the moment. So prizes across all 4 categories today. Prize money amounts for the qualifying races. So qualifying races, individual prize money, AED, 10,000 AED for the win in the Category 1 race today, 8,000 AED for second, 6,000 for third, 4,000 for fourth, and 2,000 AED for 5th place in the Category 1 race today. So 10,000 AED equivalent to around $2,700 at today's exchange rate. The prize money is equal in both the men's and the women's race, and that prize money goes right the way through the categories. So 6,000 AED for the win in Category 2, 3,600 AED for the win in Category 3, and 2,160 AED for the win in Category 4. But all prize money in all 4 categories going down to 5th place. So creating some really dynamic and fast and furious racing. So back in with that racing today, and we can see Mr. X100 has pushed on and has actually pushed hard off the front of that group. So the rider who has been hanging around at the back of that group of 7 and just getting distance and pushing on and maintaining perhaps a more constant pace, pushing on now and being joined by Jason Osborne. So Mr. X100 and Osborne now at the front of this group. SS, Safrazad, Popovic, Jones and Knudsen doing the chasing, but there's a 5-second gap back now as Osborne and Mr. X100 have pushed clear. We've got Osborne and Mr. X100 on the right-hand side of your screen, the two riders who have pushed on. We've got the chasing group led by Popovic, SS, Safrazad, Knudsen and Jones on the left-hand side of your screen. And that distance, you can just see it there. This chasing group of riders have got the two lead breakaway riders in their sights. So Osborne and X100 are our two breakaway riders at the moment. They have established around 5 seconds on the chasing group, but only 5 seconds at the moment, and we are not actually yet at the foothills of the next set of climbs. But as Mr. X100 continues to work hard, he continues to push on 6.4 watts per kilo. Osborne staying on his wheel. They've still got 6 seconds back to SS Knudsen, Popovic, Safrazad and Jones. So are this group behind going to start to work together and actually catch these two, or are they going to let these two riders go down the road because nobody wants to help each other? They've got 100 meters now. So Mr. X100 and Jason Osborne have got 100 meters now on this chase group. And this chase group do not seem to be doing very much at the moment. But let's be realistic. Mr. X100 has 3 teammates in that group behind, and none of those are going to do the work. So it's going to come down to Knudsen and Jones if they want to make this catch. So Mr. X100, Jason Osborne, 2 riders clear, 9 seconds now back to the chasing group. But Mr. X100's got 3 teammates in that chasing group. So Knudsen and Jones not looking like they're interested in chasing. This group of 2 are going out a little bit further. We say that Mr. X100's got 3 teammates behind, but Osborne has 2. So we've got the Danish Pavlovas against the UAE clan team. Osborne from the Pavlovas, Mr. X100 from the UAE clan team. Whilst we have not got a team competition in terms of prize money until the November final, team tactics are playing out already today. So Mr. X100, UAE clan team, Jason Osborne from the Danish Pavlovas are down the road from the lead group of 7 riders. It has now become 2 riders out front. 200 meters back now, the 5 remaining riders from that lead group of 7 are not interested in chasing. And that's because we've got Knudsen and Jones, 2 other riders from the Danish Pavlova team, from Osborne's team. We've got Popovic, SS and Safrazad, 3 riders from the UAE clan team. Yep, Mr. X100's team. So teammates are not chasing, and X100 and Osborne have now gone 15 seconds clear. So I think this may well be the break that sees the 1-2 today, as Mr. X100 and Jason Osborne push on and now have got 20 seconds before they come into that final set of category 4 climbs. And you can see those climbs on the road on the left hand side of your screen. In fact, Mr. X100 and Jason Osborne are already on them. So as Osborne kicks at 8 watts per kilo, the gradient is 12.2%. Osborne is kicking hard. Mr. X100 is trying to respond. Back down the road, 18 seconds back, Knudsen, Safrazad, Popovic, SS and Ollie Jones. And let's not forget that these gradients can be killers and establish big gaps in these groups. And will Osborne and Mr. X100 stay out front? These riders have got 2 category 4 climbs ahead of them and an uncategorized climb as well that is still an average gradient of 6.3%. So 3 climbs left on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club as our 2 lead riders are. Gap is coming down. It had gone to nearly 20 seconds. It's now currently sat at 9 or 10 seconds. So we've got Osborne, Mr. X100, Safrazad, Knudsen, Popovic and SS, and a slight gap back to Ollie Jones now in 7th place. So the gradient has kicked to 13.2% as they're coming towards the brow of this first climb. Once they get over the top of this climb, they've got 2 more to go in this final section of climbing before they get to the finish line. Osborne is still out front with Mr. X100, but the gap is closing now, and this chasing group are coming ever faster in. 4 seconds back now to Knudsen, Popovic, SS, Safrazad. Ollie Jones now back off this group, 30 seconds back. So we're down to 6 riders. Mr. X100, Jason Osborne are now being caught by Knudsen. Knudsen, Popovic, Safrazad and SS are now making this catch. So the attack that came from Mr. X100 and Michael and Jason Osborne, Knudsen has now gone over the top, and this group are now back together again. So 6 riders, they've dropped Ollie Jones. Jones is now 20 seconds back. They are up this category 4 climb and they are over the top. They are about to hit the main descent. As a group of 6 riders, they will come down off this hillside. There is a short, flat transition section before they hit the uncategorized climb. Up and over the uncategorized climb will drop them into the final climb of the day. The final climb of the day is 900 meters in length with an average gradient of 12.3%. It kicks, and it really kicks hard on that final climb, and the finish banner is right at the top today. So whilst our leading group of riders are dropping down on the steep descent on the other side, our chasing group are on the foothills of the climb behind them. And this group is the group that contains Bjorkland, Martins, Al Hamadi. They are still working hard, and that is the chase group today. So 41.1 kilometres travelled. They have 3.7k to go. We still have 6 riders in contention for the first 5 places, but we've got 2 climbs left to go in this race today. So these riders trying to take the opportunity to have as much of a recovery as they can. But Mr. X100 goes again, a 9.6 watts per kilo. He's really trying to make these brakes stick, but he's got class company with him as Osborne responds. Knudsen kicks at 10 watts per kilo. Safrazad's at 10 as well. Popovic is still responding, and SS isn't going away. So this group, they might keep attacking each other, but the class in the field is there because they are all responding. SS slightly off the back of this group, but I don't think it's going to be long till he makes the catch back as Mr. X100, Osborne, Knudsen, Safrazad, Popovic are all still in this group of 6 riders as we see the next climb approaching on the other side of the bridge. So as these riders transition, we just drop back in with Ollie Jones. Ollie Jones was indeed in the group of 7 on the last climb, became distance, and it's amazing how quickly a group can travel and how quickly a rider can be distanced. As we see the lead group lap one of the riders on this course today, Safrazad and X100, Osborne pushing on. This next uncategorized climb is coming, 10% at the moment on the gradient, as Safrazad and Osborne are our 2 riders out front at the moment. This group just stretching slightly on the road here, but only 2 seconds from the front of the group to the back of the group. So pretty much all still together. Ollie Jones, our chasing rider, in 7th, not yet on the climb. So currently looking at that, there is around 400 meters between the lead group of 6 and Ollie Jones are rider in 7th today on the road. And 1 minute now, that gap. So our lead group of 6 riders went into the bottom of this climb, and it's looking as though SS is the one who is in danger at the moment. So SS currently looking as though 6 seconds back now, and Safrazad, Osborne, Knudsen, Mr. X100 and Pablo Popovic have all pushed on and are all still together as they come to the top of this climb. But SS there is just off the back of this group. It's only 2 or 3 seconds. But he's pushing on because he's seen the danger of the fact that they could go over this brow of this hill without him. So SS pushes back on and closes that gap as the gradient drops and the riders start to descend on the other side. So only one climb now separating these riders from the finish of this race today in the lead group. Ollie Jones not yet at the top of that climb. Our lead group have gone over the top and are now coming down the other side. Currently around 74, 75 kph from this group at the moment as they drop and descend the other side. Watts per kilo dropping to sub 1.5 with an attempt to get some micro rest and micro recovery, because the second they hit the lowest point on this descent, it starts to kick again. And that kick is the final segment of this race today. So 900 meters to go on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club today in our first qualifier race of November. 800 meters left, and the gradient is really starting to kick as Mr. X100 goes again and is really adamant he's having this race today. Absolutely pushing on at 8 watts per kilo. Safrazad in 2, Osborne in 3, Knudsen in 4, SS in 5, Popovic in 6. 3 minutes now back to Jones in 7th as Osborne pushes on 8 watts per kilo. Mr. X100 responds and Safrazad is with them too. There's a gap now of 3 seconds back to Knudsen, and the gap is bigger back to Popovic. 6 seconds back now to Pablo Popovic. So 4 riders now currently in this lead group: Safrazad, Osborne, Knudsen and Mr. X100. 4 riders now, 13.3% the gradient is. And there are less than 600 meters to go on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. So Knudsen kicks again. Knudsen has gone over the top of this group. Safrazad responds. Osborne isn't going to let them go, and Mr. X100 is still in there. Knudsen is kicking again, 7 watts per kilo. Safrazad responds. Osborne and X100 are watching the moves. Pablo Popovic is pushing hard and trying to get back to this group now as Knudsen goes again. Knudsen is trying to really keep those power down as Knudsen tries to stretch. We're looking at nearly 8 watts per kilo, but it's not putting any of our riders in peril at the moment. Safrazad, Osborne, X100, Popovic is 3 seconds back. So we are down to 4 riders in this group. Knudsen is continuing to push hard. Safrazad kicks 9 watts per kilo. Osborne is going at 10. Mr. X100 doesn't want to be left behind, currently working hard to get back on. We are looking at now coming into the last 200 meters of this race. The riders on the top right-hand side of the screen can see that finish banner. In fact, he's there in front of them now. Safrazad kicks at 10 watts per kilo. Jason Osborne, 10 and a half. Osborne, Safrazad, which one of these two? Safrazad, 13, 15. Jason Osborne and Syed Safrazad went across that line together. That was so close. Mr. X100, Michael Knudsen lead 4 riders. Syed Safrazad takes the win from Jason Osborne. There was a wheel in that. So, first place today, Syed Safrazad, 1 hour, 12 minutes, 8 seconds. Jason Osborne in second, Michael Knudsen in third, and Mr. X100 in fourth place today. Pablo Popovic pulls the gap to close to fifth place today. So our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was a attack after attack between the UAE clan team and the Danish Pavlovas, as on the right hand side of your screen we are watching SS come in to that finish line for sixth place today. So that group of riders, there were 7 riders in that group. They went down to 6. They dropped Ollie Jones. They went down to 5, then 4. And that race between Safrazad and Osborne for the finish was a tyre width between them. Outstanding riding as we drop back in with Ollie Jones, who has still got 400 metres of the race to go and is on one of the steepest segments of the climb. So outstanding riding from our leading riders in Category 1 today to confirm the win taken by Syed Safrazad in 1 hour, 12 minutes and 8 seconds. Second today, Jason Osborne, just less than a second behind. Michael Knudsen, Mr. X100, Pablo Popovic and SS round out the top 6 as we drop back further down the field today, and we can see our riders in 1s and 2s throughout the field. It has been a hard and fast race today, and this course has been relentless with 6 Category 4 climbs and gradients topping 12, 13, 14%. It has really done some damage to this field today. So our top 6 riders in, and we are currently over with Ollie Jones at the moment, who can see that finish line in front of him. So Jones working hard now and will cross the line in 7th place today. So Ollie Jones coming in for the Danish Pavlovas in 7th today. And take a look at that. Top 7 riders, top 2 teams, Danish Pavlovas and the UAE clan team today. So a little bit further back down the field on the right-hand side of your screen, we've got Philip Graves and Stefan van Elst, are next 2 riders on the road today. So not a huge amount of time at all splitting 1-2 today. Some great riding today and some great racing right the way through this field, but some outstanding team tactics that we've seen from that front 7 as well once they went clear and they pushed on. As we see Graves pushing on here for this finish line, Moreno as well with him, and it's looking as though those 2 have just come over that line there. So Johan Noren and Philip Graves coming in for 8th and 9th place today. So 8th and 9th coming in there, and we drop back as well with Mitch Ferry here and the next set of riders coming in. So these riders have been working hard today and they are pushing on and pushing through. So Van Elst, Van den Eckhart and Mitch Ferry coming in there for the Belgian Waffles and the Yorkshire Pudding Express. And we drop back to see our next rider on the road, 43.9. In fact, actually look at that. We're just about to see Martin Martins come through. As our top 12 finishers are on the screen in front of you there. So Martin Martins just coming through there for, I think, which will be 13th place. And we drop back to Youssef Al-Hamadi, who has had an outstanding race today and pushed on and worked with the groups and gone through the attacks. Still 800 metres to go, this final climb for Al-Hamadi, pushing on and tapping the power down on those pedals onto this final section of this category 4 climb today. So what a finish for this parkour today. Not the last 900 meters of this race being an average gradient of 12.3%. And it has really attacked the race field today and done some damage in terms of time splits, as we have seen amongst our top 12 riders. We're back in with Al Hamadi, currently here tapping along at 240 watts as he's pushing on and coming up through this race field today. So still 600 meters of this climb to go. For Yusuf Al Hamadi, as he pushes on today on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. If you are interested in joining us, take a look at the mywhoosh.com website, take a look at the events page, and sign up for the Sunday Race Club. If you've not ridden on MyWhoosh before, download the app, jump on your trainer, and give us a ride and a go. So today's race then, won by Said Safrazad in 1, Jason Osborne in 2. It was a wheel-on-wheel sprint up a 900-metre category 4 climb for the finish. What a race for qualifier 1 today on the 6th of November. So don't forget to check out mywhoosh.com for the final results for all of our 4 categories today. You can also follow us on social media for updates during the week. You can find MyWhoosh on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter. And you can find me at Biking Emma. I'm really looking forward to qualifier race number 2 in November to see how our 4 race categories play out. So join me next Sunday for qualifier 2. See you then.